Hi, everyone. It's Dominic from the MS Guide again. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us. Some of you may recognize my guest. She's sitting in a village in India right now. Her name's Anjali Vyas. And we're going to talk specifically today about dating, love, marriage, all those kind of things. Relationships would be the broad term that I'd use. But I would say things are slightly different sometimes in India because of the whole cultural family bonds that we don't always have here in the UK. Dating and love and people and getting together is ultimately something you do with your heart as well as your head. Hi, Anjali. How are you doing?
Hey, hello, Dominic. I am doing fantastic. Things have been pretty rough lately in India because of the second wave, and we are expecting the third wave as well. But then
Okay,
everything's fine so far. Yeah.
good. Okay. And just for clarity, for certainly for some of the people I know who watch this in England or the States or wherever, where roughly in India are you?
Mine is a small town
Okay.
based in the central part of the country.
Okay. All right.
So not even many Indians know of this place because the name is so, I wouldn't say weird, but then something that doesn't really pop up in their minds that usually. So it's Bhandara, Bhandara.
Yeah.
Right, in the state of Maharashtra.
Okay. I've been to India before, but my whole feeling was, oh my God, this is a big place.
Right.
And there were so many people. And it was a fact that the traffic in Delhi could grind to a halt because a cow decided to have a nap in the road, and that was it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
No,
cows here are like gods. So they are everywhere. You'll find them everywhere.
yeah, you don't really see any McDonald's as a result of that. But you're very lucky. Hey, Angela,
Yeah.
we were talking the other day about dating and stuff, and there's that even in present day India, there's still an enormous amount of family involvement in relationships. Is that fair?
Yeah, quite right.
Okay.
Especially in the North Indian community,
Right.
there is definite involvement of the families, especially if it's an arranged marriage.
Right.
Even if it is a love marriage between the two lovebirds, still there is interference, not even interference, I would say, but then yes, involvement of the two families out there because there are so many other things and ideas and thoughts and ceremonies and stuff like that. They all discuss and they all need to be the part of. So definitely in India, it is believed that, when you marry a person, you're not just marrying the person, but the entire family. Because ultimately, the two families are getting married and they are bonding together. And they're always there through their thick and thin uh, in every kind of situation and circumstance. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's quite right.
it's the stuff of endless jokes in many countries. I mean, I always think of the phrase, you can choose your friends, but you can't choose your family.
Quite right. Yeah.
And I had MS before I got married, and it's my view. I disclosed it straight away because I think if somebody doesn't like my MS, then they don't like me because my MS is me. But I may be oversimplifying it. What role does it play if you're an Indian person with MS? How do you deal with it in this whole context that is oftentimes all the families and everybody knows everything and blah, blah, blah? And how does it make you?
Right. Honestly, it has a great impact. I'll tell you what. Uh, when two people get married and when the two families are involved, then we have got extended families as well. So it's like you have dropped a bomb, and then you can see the effect. It's a ripple effect. You can see all over the place. So therefore, it becomes quite important for us to kind of spill the beans at the right time. And in
Why
India,
is this? You
uh,
said ripple effect. Is this because of the misunderstanding that we talked about?
yeah, definitely. Forget about the families or the extended family members. I'll tell you what, in fact, that happened to me, when I was seeing guys on a matrimonial site, because that was the last resort for me. My family was pushing me to get married, and I spoke to really, nice gentlemen. They were well educated, coming from whatnot backgrounds, and I was quite hopeful to find one match at least. I was there for 2 years on that side. Uh, Dating in any way is a hush hush topic in India still. Yeah, because when you tell people that okay, I'm dating this guy and I have a boyfriend, the term boyfriend is still somewhere stigmatized. Imagine MS, huh?
Right.
So yeah, definitely.
So
I think in cities,
forget
yeah.
MS. The
Hmm.
fact that you say you have a boyfriend and all of a sudden it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
do they see this as maybe a husband?
They want it to be very honest.
Right.
They want that person to be. Even if you introduce that boyfriend to your family, they will desperately want you to get married to that person because they are sure in their heads, and they somewhere know, the parents at least know that I'm sure that her friends know, and some of the people in my village know or in my town know that she is into this guy, so she better not really be a disgrace to our family or so, bring disgrace or something. So she better marry that guy. Yes, this is something that still happens in many parts of the country. I will not say all, because there are people, quite open-minded people in cities, that you will find where they accept it quite nicely,
Wow.
and embrace that. Yeah, definitely, definitely. In fact,
If my daughter introduced her boyfriend to me, I'd be very nice and I'd try and get to as much of his details as possible, maybe a hair as well that he doesn't notice,
yeah,
so that I can have a DNA check and a criminal check. That would be my very first thing is this guy's going out with my daughter. You
true.
ain't coming any closer to her if I can help it until I know what you're like.
Lovely. And that should be the actual perspective. I'm so glad to hear that. And you know what,
Really?
Dominic, in India, yeah, definitely. I totally
It's a
no,
joke.
no, no. But I think it should happen. I'll tell you really why. Because in India, we actually majorly weddings are finalized or marriages are finalized based on the astrological charts.
But really, it's the impact of MS on the dating, the relationships. How do you manage it? And you were telling me that you could tell me some horror stories. So
Mhm.
explain to me what has happened, and also because MS is a disease of younger people, and people like you are going to be diagnosed. People, males and everything. Does it is it different for a man or a woman to have MS in India regarding
Definitely.
dating and relationships?
I think so. I think so. I cannot speak for all of them, but when it comes to gender preferences, definitely there is somewhere some inequality, I would say, in terms of marriages. But yes, when it comes to MS, if say you know a person from before the person was diagnosed with MS, then I think the story can be a different one.
Right.
But then mostly, what I have experienced when I said that I was on a matrimonial site, I registered and I was seeing some guys and actually went on dates with them. So earlier, when I did not really disclose it on my profile, yes, I was getting requests from whatnot kind of people, and they were good guys. And then after several conversations, then I chose to disclose because I think not everyone deserves to know that I have MS. To be very honest, in fact, I hope you will also agree to it. That you cannot just keep on telling every Tom, Dick, and Harry that hey, listen, I have MS. Do you want to marry me? Of course not. So after you get that understanding, and if you see that no, this person seems sensible, the way he has been talking to me and kind of discussing things, especially social issues, I think it's good to disclose this to this person. And when I did that, I was, in some instances, I was amazed. And in some, I was really shocked and upset. Because what they do when you tell them, that you have MS, they will Google, just like any other person. And they will
Like
Google what
someone with
multiple
MS.
sclerosis. Right. And then after Googling, they will make up their mind that, oh my God, she has this condition. And I see people on wheelchairs and getting bedridden and whatnot. And then they will straight away on the next call reject you. They will feel bad and then, yeah. And on the top of that, they'll tell you, I feel so sorry, Anjali, that you have this. If not marriage, we can be good friends. I said, please don't do that. This is very silly. Can we be just friends? Stuff like that. So that happened to me. In some cases, some guys really surprised me, when they really took some good amount of time to understand what multiple sclerosis is. Uh, and they came up to me with certain questions. But the upsetting point was none of these guys ever asked me what MS is like, what you are going through, because this is something that I have read on the internet and I see these issues with MS. Do you face any of them? If so, then how do you manage? And what is management like in MS? How much does it cost, etc.? Nobody asked me that because I think we live in a society today, Dominique, where we expect young adults, when we say that we are a progressive country or a world in general, not just country, I will say, to at least have some sense to kind of understand what the other person is going through and ask the questions directly to that person rather than relying on Google. So yes, that happened to me, and I'm sure that and I feel that it was at least me then, because in my profile I mentioned that I'm so and so and I'm working as so and so, and I'm living in the city of Pune. I work for an NGO voluntarily. So these are some fancy words that attract people, just like a product that you're selling, right?
You're selling you.
Uh, yeah, and they will come running to you, and you tell them just one thing, and then they're gone.
I don't think that's uncommon across cultures, and that's the fear.
Mhm.
Regardless, that when you disclose your MS to the other person, it's a sort of, I'd love to be your friend, but oh, is that the time? Yeah. What tips would you give to somebody else in your position,
Mhm.
uh, who's trying to date, who wants to find love or relationship, a husband? How are they going to deal with it if it's a female? And how would you turn it around? And what would you say to the guys that, look, when you
Mhm.
see MS, this is what
Right.
you should do as a decent human being?
Correct. I think the first thing that everybody should know and should actually work on, it might sound harsh or rude, but then it's very important for a woman, especially in India, to be financially independent. Because unless and until you are not, nobody's going to ask you. Because, the actual burden that really falls on the guy when they hear that you have MS is this. Okay, so the cost of treatment is too
Money,
high.
money, money, money.
Yeah, money.
Right.
You
Okay.
need to have. Correct, correct. And the other thing that I feel is, as I said, that when you meet that guy and when you talk, it's not important for you to disclose that in the first meeting. But then make sure that you're disclosing it to the worthy ones, not every person that you randomly meet or see. Especially if you're getting married to a person who has been arranged by your own family or community or culture. Oh my God, I know that it's very stressful because the girl is so bound, I'll tell you, Dominique. You can't even reject the guy. Number one, because your uncle has recommended that guy. How dare you reject him? Secondly, you have MS and you have that pride and you have those guts to actually reject a guy. The problem is with you. So you better keep your mouth shut.
Right. So
Accept
the
that you
whole
have
the
it.
whole vibe is you're very lucky to be married. Aren't you lucky? You
Absolutely.
scraped
Right.
under the radar, and lucky you.
Yes. This is something which really breaks my heart. And I've heard these stories of women. And I've also heard stories of women when they got married, and after their marriage they were diagnosed with MS and they were abandoned by the family.
So they were
Okay,
diagnosed after the marriage. So all
after
that
the
has
marriage.
happened. Then the MS.
Mhm.
Then they just get. When you say abandoned by the family, do you mean divorced, left by the husband? What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah. In some cases, they don't even divorce. You know why? Because we have a Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act in place. So they will not do it because they know if the girl is well educated, she can come on to me. But then the Indian families, especially the parents of the girls, again are so desperate, and they don't want to do it because ultimately they are always hopeful that, no, someday she will get back to her husband and that she'll have a good life. That's why they don't want to take such extreme steps. But there's not just the dark side to it, Dominic. In our country, I have seen marriages taking place in the disability community as well. I have seen people in India, especially at the MS Society of India, where a person has happily accepted the other girl or the guy with MS, despite knowing that the person has MS.
So what would you recommend if you've got MS and you're finding it difficult, male or female? Um,
Mhm.
you talked about the MS Society of India. I mean, is there any way, if you're not, shall we say, so close-minded?
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, it depends on the way you project MS, number one. Uh, you should know, first, you should know what is your kind of MS. I'm not talking about the category RRMS or primary progressive. You should know what challenges you facing
Mhm.
and what you can expect after you get married, because there's so much after marriage, right?
Yeah.
You have to plan a family, etc. So I think a person first himself or herself should be very confident, accept the fact that they have MS and that they want to get into this business. Because I don't think that most of us really want to get married. If you ask me, I don't think I want to get married now because I've seen it. And I think I'm okay and self-sufficient enough to kind of live the life with dignity alone. So I think acceptance is the key, secondly, and you should be also able to educate the other person on what multiple sclerosis is.
Mhm.
Don't just let go the person just by rejecting you on your face. Tell the other person that I respect your decision that you don't want to get married to me, but here's the thing, you should know about this
You might
aspect
meet
of multiple
somebody
sclerosis.
else with MS. You
Correct.
never know. You might get MS, it's just like, hey,
Yeah. Yeah. Because that way you are empowering not just yourself, but so many other people living with disability out there. That there is another segment and section of the society which are marginalized, which are always overlooked. You know what? In our country, we also have annual kind of programs or events that are only meant for weddings and marriages for persons with disabilities. Yes, we do. Where a person with disability marries another person with disability. Yes. And that happens. I'm so proud to actually announce that. And that has been happening since long. It's been 10 years that it's happening in India.
I mean, the key thing you said to me was it's about your dignity. You don't have to get married. You need to
Right.
look out for yourself, number one. And if somebody, and I would say this to anybody in any country, if somebody else is not going to take you how you are and they don't love you for who you are, then frankly, they're the wrong person for you. It's just going to be more stressful for your MS and they'll make you feel worse. So
Right.
I love the fact, yeah, as well. I don't walk into every room and say, "Hi, I'm Dominic. I've got MS." So same thing.
Yeah. I will tell people that unless and until you project your disability or any health issue for that matter as a stigma, you will not do, if you are not going to do it, definitely people will not perceive it as that. It's up to you how you kind of take your disability or understand your disability. Because if you're going to tell the society, I have multiple sclerosis, I have fatigue issues, oh my God, I have a disability, definitely people will make it a big stigma, a big deal out of it.
Mm,
So love yourself, own your multiple sclerosis is just one of the issues with your body. It's not the end of your life. It is just one tiny problem which I am very sure everybody can tackle. So accept your multiple sclerosis very proudly, bravely. So when you project it to the person should get the hint of multiple sclerosis as something that you're battling and you're going to win it, and not that you've lost yourself to it.
yeah,
That's something that I want to tell every young adult out there listening to this.
exactly. Hey, I think that's a really good note to wind this up on. Um, there may be cultural specific things, but also that advice that you just gave to me cuts across any culture. And I really appreciate you saying that, Anjali. So until next time, thank you very much for coming on the MS Guide.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's my pleasure. You take care. Cheers. Bye bye.
You too.